Hi, I'm Dan Waldman with my fellow colleague Jared Bellman.
That's me.
And we're here on the radio to entertain and provide the most interesting and obscure topics that you will ever hear.
You won't hear this stuff anywhere else.
So sit back in traffic and enjoy. But our first topic is pretty simple, containing the NBA draft. Now, Jared, who do you think had the best draft?
The best NBA draft, I would have to go with the Washington Wizards. They got a big man in John Vesely who can really provide a spark for their offense. But they also got a guy named Chris Singleton from Florida State who is an all-around great defender, ACC Defensive Player of the Year in 2010.
Well, Jared, I myself have to go with the Charlotte Bobcats, a rebuilding team. I really like getting Kemba Walker at pick 9. I think that he'll provide a very outburst of offense for this struggling offensive team. And Bismack Biyombo, coming out of the Republic of Congo, I think is a young Ben Wallace without the afro. And I think he'd come in and average 2.4 blocks per game like he did in Congo. And I think he's going to make a great presence.
Another team who had a great draft was the Bucks. I know they didn't really have a great draft itself, but they picked up a key guy, Steven Jackson, who can really help them in offense. And also a guy named Beto Udrih, who can be a key reserve for them.
And now we have our first caller. It appears this is Carl from Minnesota.
Carl, you're on the fan.
I'm from Minnesota. And personally, what do you think about Jimmy Fredette going to Sacramento?
Well, first of all, I think that Jimmy Fredette is a absolutely outstanding pick for the Sacramento Kings. Sacramento's had trouble bringing in fans into the stadium, and I think that Jimmy Fredette, the leading scorer in the NCAA last season, will bring that burst they need and fit into the system perfectly alongside Tyreke Evans as a perimeter shooter.
Yeah, like you said, I think Jimmy Fredette's going to fit right along in with that young core that Sacramento has going. They have Tyreke Evans and DeMarcus Cousins in there as well. And they also picked up John Salmons in that trade we were talking about. I think Jimmy Fredette fits in well with the Sacramento Kings.
Now, Jared, who do you think was the biggest steal of the NBA draft?
It's hard to not go with Kenneth Faried. He was the all-time leading rebounder in the NCAA. The guy whose record he broke, a guy named Tim Duncan, you may have heard of him. He's pretty good.
Heard about him.
Yeah, so I think Kenneth Faried was a real steal for the Denver Nuggets at pick 22.
I, too, do agree with you with Kenneth Faried, averaging 17.5 points per game last season and 14.5 rebounds per game last season. I think that was tremendous, especially coming out of Morehead State and upsetting the number 2 seed Louisville in the NCAA tournament bracket. I think that another great steal was a sir named Brandon Knight out of University of Kentucky, point guard freshman who's willing to take that big shot, averaging 17 points per game, 4 rebounds per game, and 4 assists per game. But our next topic is a little more obscure one that has been hovering around. Do you think there should be a height limit in the NBA?
Yeah, I would call that obscure. I don't think so. I mean, you see guys like Yao Ming and Hasheem Thabeet come into the NBA. Basketball is a game of height. You need height to play in this league. There shouldn't be a height limit. I mean, you don't see most guys coming in above 7'6". I mean, if a guy comes in around 8 feet, that gets kind of ridiculous. But
well, I completely disagree with you. I mean, basketball is not a game of height; it should be a game of skill. And I think that you have these big guys like Zydrunas Ilgauskas who just stands in the center and tries to dump the ball in the net. I think it's completely ridiculous. And that will wrap up our show for today. I'm Dan Waldman, and
I'm Jared Bellman.
And stay